This conference is not only life-changing, it's needed in society. And I think much the same about fitness and nutrition as medicine and healthcare. There's a major gap, and if we don't do something about it, I feel that our loved ones are going to suffer for years to come. And I will try to explain as much as possible how we can all make a difference. I really don't mind if anybody doesn't do a licensing program. That's not the point. There's a point that I'm going to share to you that we can all make a huge impact, just what we do day to day in our practice. You know where the pointer went, so I can there. But anyways, there's a few different things that I'm going to go over today. Much of the crisis that's at hand you all know, so I'll be pretty quick. I'm going to explain what medical fitness is and how it's different than essentially just fitness in general. I'm also going to go over what an actual integrated model is, how the systems talk to each other. So medicine and fitness aren't just two worlds, how they actually can combine for a better outcome, a better communication platform with patients, and then ultimately a better result in an outcome for patient care. And I'll go into a little of how our model started, very small, and how it's progressed over time and where I think this is going in the future. And then how, whether again you decide to do anything regarding fitness, how you find the right people, the right partners, the way to get referrals and help grow your functional medicine practice, because it's essential for where we're going in healthcare. And then again, my opinions why I think it's the best thing that we can all do. As you all know, obesity is on the rise, disease, prescriptions just being handed out continue to be increased. Healthcare costs are on the rise, so are insurance rates for the consumers, as well as deductibles, reimbursements for physicians decreasing. So everything's going up except for physician pay in the insurance model. Bundled payments and outcomes are the models of the future for those who are still in the insurance game. So it's about outcomes, and again, medical fitness may play a huge role in that. And then managed care, as I've heard spoken about much this weekend already. We are in the midst of an obesity crisis. Nearly 70% of the American population right now is overweight or obese. And by 2020, half will be obese, which is now considered a disease. That is a staggering statistics. It is the leading cause of preventable death in the world. And the word preventable that's the hard part of it. Out of everything that there is out there, it's the leading cause of preventable death. Overweight patients do cost the healthcare system 40% more, and physical inactivity costs $102 billion. Prescription drugs in 2010 was $259 billion and is expected to more than double by 2020. As you all know, that all equates to a healthcare crisis, and what that means is the housing market. We seen it 10 years ago that there was a bubble and it was going to burst. We all know healthcare is right on the same verge that it can no longer sustain these costs and where it's going right there. So you all are in a good position looking at medicine differently than the traditional folks out there. And we got to do something to break the pattern, because 90% of chronic disease is preventable, and it's all about targeting the root causes. The slide didn't translate very well, but much of it is controllable. Our lifestyles, our nutrition, our movement, as well as our lifestyle choices. Are we just having one or two drinks? Are we drinking and blacking out? Are we smoking? Are we doing things to our body that's going to affect it? Then we have stress, physical, emotional. All that can be monitored. And then what else is in there is our hormones and endocrinology. As you all know, that plays a vital role in how our body's going to perform and optimize, as well as epigenetics. So we talk about telomeres. So many of you may have dove into that and as a Nobel Prize winner. So the focus is how can we extend life and longevity, and telomeres has a lot to do. There was some talk on epigenetics yesterday. So not only now is eating and exercise affect us personally, that's okay, but if we don't take control of our lives, we're affecting our children and the generations beforehand. So we have a responsibility to take steps. And then the uncontrollable is we all are going to age, so how do we naturally go against that? And then if we get in a car accident today, we have whiplash, there's going to be severe consequences that may there. So when we look at the influence, we look at regeneration and degeneration. So I heard the pendulum talk just a few minutes earlier, and it's how do we find that balance? And we look at regeneration, not just in regenerative orthopedics in our practice, but as in lifestyle and functional medicine, nutraceuticals, fitness and nutrition, Regenerative injections, so just instead of cortisone and steroids, we do a lot of regenerative therapy such as PRP and stem cells in our clinic. Nerve health and telomere lengthening. And then again on the other side, natural aging, lifestyle, hormones, genetics, and trauma overuse. All of our prescriptions, for the most part, are just treating the factors and symptoms. So what we must do is focus on the cause, and that's activity, exercise, diet, environmental influences that the FDA and the government's putting out there, and then research into genetics. Not more drugs and not surgery is the solution. Our role as healers, instead of that medication when somebody comes in, whether we're in family practice and there shouldn't be, here's your metformin, the thought process should be, are you exercising and are you eating the right way? Because if we don't focus on that, there's nothing that we can do to fix the healthcare crisis that we're in. Instead of pain and arthritis, the first conversation shouldn't be a cover-up injection or surgery. What are the options that lie in between that we can get people functional, moving, restoring health, and then back to there? These are some staggering statistics that just show simply by the BMI increase, we go from a risk of with no other cofactors of back pain in step with BMI, 2.9% for normal BMI, 5.2% for overweight, 7.7% for obese, and 11.6% risk of guaranteed back pain by simply our weight alone. Because when patients lack sufficient exercise, the supporting structures do become stiff, weak, and deconditioned. In overweight individuals, if they simply just move 20 minutes a day of moderate activity, can reduce their back pain by 32%. So back pain is a big thing that a lot of patients suffer from that we see. It's the biggest work comp claim that's out there, ergonomics, there's so much tied to it. But if we simply just move by 20 to 30 minutes a day, we can reduce the odds of back pain by 32%. As you all know, there's a lot in outcomes and bundled payments where they're looking at surgery that it's just not effective when patients are obese. And it shows in some of these studies that operative times are longer for obese patients, that obese patients had worse post-operative reports than somebody that is healthy. And movement and exercise are the only ways to foster blood flow to the nutrients and disk space that are supporting the body. As you all know, weight loss is an absolute booming industry. And it shows in this study that 86% of obese patients wanted to lose weight. But they're tired. They've tried this pill, they've tried that pill, they've tried everything that's the solution. So they're looking, but they haven't found that answer yet, and it doesn't come in a magic pill. It comes from moving. And the statistic shows that 62% that their physician could be in the best ideal position to help them. And here's something that really saddens my heart is from a study from 1996 to 2007, advice on weight and diet dropped by 41% over the study period compared to the 10 years prior. And the fact of the matter is, obesity soared in this time period. And the worst part about it, those suffering from metabolic syndrome and disease, it dropped even worse. So physicians are ignoring these needs. It's like maybe they won't be compliant, maybe they don't care, I don't know what that is, but they took that oath that they want to help and educate people, and it's just simply not happening. Our pastor in our town is one of the greatest guys in the world at helping people, but he's morbidly obese. And we got him to start our Biggest Loser Transformation contest at the beginning of the year. And we were 1 week into it, and he came back and he was really tired in the morning. And I joined the group because I really want to help him out. And I found out that I had Lyme's disease a couple months earlier, and I've been working really hard and let myself go a little bit more than I should. So I wanted to get back into it and be accountable in a team. And he showed up early one morning, and he said, I'm really tired today. I don't know if I'm going to give it my all. I said, why? What's going on? He said, well, I went for an overnight sleep study. And he said, well, the first 5 minutes on the treadmill, that they said, whoa, you're going to need this machine right there. And I said, oh, well, at least, you'll start sleeping better. And what we're doing here is I'm going to do everything in my power to help get you off that. I said, did the physician say, I'm glad you're doing what you're doing? He said, he mentioned nothing about diet or exercise. 5 minutes on there, and not one word said on diet or exercise. That's the only solution to that. How many people are coming there on a daily basis, and in a hospital setting, nothing's being done? That's a crime to me. So I don't know what we can do besides everybody personally taking a stand and start making this a part of our daily dialogue. Because patients who were counseled by their physician were motivated to attempt weight loss, and they were 3 times more likely if they had received that advice than those that hadn't received that advice. So that's the words of power that we can all take in and do something on our own right there. Because according to the American Family Practice, physicians are in the ideal position to reverse the skyrocketing obesity rates. Behind the president in the United States, and I would argue now that it's even different, that physicians are the #1 authoritative source in America behind the president. I think where we're going now and the next electees to come, that they would probably say physicians are the #1 source now. So it's our job. You know, when that doctor says, hey, it's time to start moving because your health's at risk here, the patient's going to finally get a light bulb. Like if they didn't know before that they shouldn't be doing something, they need that affirmation from their physician that your life's in jeopardy. I know you love your family. Let's do something about it. And there's a solution to it. And what can we do? What can you all do and take away? It's simple. I've heard people in PT, when I go to the medical conference, they're saying, well, I don't want to call a patient out and have that talk or make them uncomfortable. I said, put this as a vital sign in every one of your consultations. Not you're overweight, you should exercise. It doesn't have to be uncomfortable dialogue, but simply, on average, how many days a week do you engage in activity? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That isn't aggressive or calling anybody out. It's just asking, do you engage in activity? On average, how many minutes do you engage? Well, Mrs. Jones, this is really important. Just walking 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week can be the prevention of diabetes alone. Or Mrs. Jones, I would like you to start at a goal of 40 minutes a week because you've been sedentary for 10 years. Let's just start moving with a goal of let's work up to 150 minutes a day. We can all do that in our practices. It's a time for change. Where healthcare is going, it's estimated in the next 10 years, every medical physician is going to have a program committed to preventative and lifestyle measures. Otherwise, there's only one way we can continue to go, and that's bankrupt and doomed. So which direction will healthcare take? Is it going to go Trump? Is it going to go government, FDA? Is it going to go more functional medicine? And we believe that it's going to go, that the answer is consumer care. And that's medical fitness, where consumers that are tired and sick and not having answers, they're now starting to demand this answer is not good enough, or this medication, or this depression. So that's how we've grown. Consumers are raising their hand and saying, I want to be better, I want to live longer, and that's what all this is. So medical fitness to me is what we're all doing here. It's exercise that's medically supervised, it's weight optimization through bioidenticals, through functional medicine, through the physician preaching nutrition services. It's hormone optimization. It's avoiding food sensitivities and gluten and dairy, or living a paleo lifestyle, whatever that may be for each individual. It's teaching them how to sleep. All those vitality things that we talked about, the basics are what healthcare is, and we all have an obligation to start helping people manage stress, control their adrenals, and then again, instead of more surgeries or cover-ups, regenerative procedures for those that have those ability. If you look at healthcare, the old system is sickness, doctor, treatment, release, versus it could be just simply continued treatment, prescribe medical fitness, evaluate, focus on lifestyle and behaviors. If we can get that one patient eating better or just simply moving 30 minutes a day, that can be a life changer for your patients that are coming through there. If you're looking to translatable programs and how that means in terms of programs in your facility, it's comprehensive weight management programs, what I'll get into. It's personal training. It could be small groups. It could be boot camps. It's online programs, just like we've seen here some of the physicians doing through webinars or educational seminars. It's breaking barriers classes, focusing on health coaching and the psychology behind lifestyle change, shopping tours, sports performance, gym memberships that insurances are covering now, and healthcare programs because of the ACA Act. There's one thing that came good out of it, and that's where I know the doctor that was talking about corporate wellness, that's the place to meet patients. There's things where you can put together a corporate platform like our Rejuve University that has lifestyle, behavior, and education, and employers are having to pay for their employees to do it now. So that's the one thing, in my opinion, that came good out of Obamacare, and it's a huge revenue opportunity. But again, functional movement is medicine. It's tensegrity, it's symmetry, it's balance, it's picking up the bag out of the closet. It is stability, and there's ways to do that through physical therapies, good trainers out there, no corrective exercise and movement, and it's also just walking around the block, so nothing too crazy. So 6 years ago, Rejuve Medical started, and we were really looked as voodoo doctors in our community. It's a small community of 69,000. We are the guys that do stem cells and PRP, and we're the guys that do functional medicine. So everybody else that was the traditional sense really looked down on us. So we'd get our patients going and then going back to their family practice. Oh, they do that. And so that really bothered Dr. Baumgartner, who's my partner, and it hurt it because he cares. And he knew this evidence and science years ago that it helps people. And why can't we just look at the outcomes as opposed to anything else? And that's where I want to show you essentially what happened in that time frame for us.
Rejuve Medical came about 6 years ago. It was a time in my life where I had those crossroads. We all kind of get those opportunities, however you want to look at it. So what happened is I was working for Abbott Northwestern. I was a physician there doing sports medicine and non-surgical orthopedics. And Abbott Northwestern decided to leave town and go back to Minneapolis. And I decided to stay in town. I liked St. Cloud, and this is where my family was. So it was the opportunity for me to do something a little bit different and create a healthcare model that I think kind of fixed our broken healthcare system. I wanted to create a healthcare model that focused on disease prevention, that would focus on, as opposed to doing a surgery if it wasn't needed, or injecting cortisone, or taking chronic pain medications. Is there something we can do for pain and arthritis to help the body heal itself? And that's basically where we can take your own cells, whether it's blood, we make PRP, which is platelet-rich plasma, or we can do a stem cell procedure where we take a bone marrow harvest, take your stem cells, take those cells out of the body, which have the potential to heal and repair, and we put those cells into the part of the body that's breaking down, whether it's knee arthritis, back pain, hip arthritis. So that was my love, was let's regenerate the body. And science was there, technology was there, it was all there to ready to be done. So with my training as a non-surgical specialist, it was right in my wheelhouse.
We've been able to take a concept that healthcare could be delivered better and actually turn it into a system. That's allowed us to grow from just a couple passionate providers and trainers to 70 employees. And when you created a system, now we can have that same success that we've had and share it with the world. We believe we've created a system that can be duplicated, that will change millions of lives in a model that is needed for our families and sustainability.
If you looked at our population, we had a lot of people that were walking around that were overweight, they're carrying extra body weight. What does extra body weight equal? It equals chronic disease. If you look at all the studies, cancer, hypertension, stroke, heart attack, it all stems from unhealthy lifestyle decisions that we're making. So I needed to bring into my model, preventive medicine, which includes exercise, eating right, healthy nutrition. That's how we're going to change healthcare. So the functional medicine side of this is let's check people, why they're fatigued. Is there something going on with their hormones? Are they not taking the right nutrients? Is their vitamin D level low? Some simple things. Maximizing all of that so their energy goes from a 2 to an 8. And then I treat them, I regenerate their joints, and you get this blend of an amazing outcomes.
I think it's really important that you just have something that separates you. So if you're going to deliver health care, it's either got to be better, more cost-effective, affordable, or your delivery has to have more passion than somebody else. So consumers are going to make a decision based on your business. So you have to be able to be different and great at what you do. If you can deliver outcomes when having a different offering, you'll capture that audience that you're trying to capture and make a difference.
I think the biggest thing I've learned is from my patients. My patients come in and they're 30, 40 pounds overweight, they've got low energy, they have no zest. 2 months later, they leave our clinic and they're singing our praises, they've lost weight, they're wearing tighter clothes, they feel amazing, they look amazing, and now they're running and hiking because their knees work again without having to do surgery or cortisone shots, and we don't give pain medications here. So I think it's the testimonies from my patients that have taught me this is the way things need to be.
So my point in saying that isn't necessarily to show what we've done or anything like that. It's the fact of the matter that we are looked outside the box and the community's bought into what we're doing. And we got the Innovation Award in Minnesota, which was special to us. The consumers made that choice. They seen what we're looking for and they love what we stand for. And that was a very humbling opportunity for us. And we still don't get a ton of other physician referrals, but now the community knows us and what we do, so it's exciting times for us in terms of continuing to forge forward and getting that affirmations, because you all know how hard it is to grind and have everybody poking fun at you. It takes courage and time to realize to silence the outside and just know what you're doing is right. So when you start talking that, you may be looked on. When you are like Dr. Osborne is out there, and he's talking about gluten and getting that. It takes courage to get past what other people are thinking to what you just know is right, and that's a big step. And so what we did from there is we realized 4 years into this that how we've grown and how we're bringing people in through marketing fitness is special. And we said we got to help change healthcare. We always knew there was a gap. So now we've had these into any type of clinic, nutrition centers, surgery centers. I've been in physical therapy and chiropractic clinics, naturopaths, and we even have a couple investors now that have just wanted their own standalone gym where they have physicians come and do this. So we believe it can plug into any model. And this is where, we've just done in a couple years our 26 other locations that we've been able to help implement medical fitness into their clinics. So how this all started was just a little over 6 years ago. I was a personal trainer at Gold's Gym, and I was working on my master's degree, and I love training and helping people because I was an athlete. I played college baseball and rugby, and I loved helping people with the nutrition. That was the whole focus, is get people losing weight. I always wanted to be known for being the best at whatever I did, whether it was sports or working hard manual labor, building water towers. I always wanted to be the best at whatever I did, not against other people, just my own core value is working as hard as I can to strive to be there. And I knew nutrition was the answer to help get people weight loss. So I had one patient that had a torn rotator cuff, and he says, and I had an Achilles tendon that just wouldn't heal. I would play on Saturday, I'd limp. I'd play, I'd limp. So he's like, well, why don't you go see this Dr. Baumgartner? He does this prolotherapy and PRP. And I said, I'll try anything. I did E-stim. I did a physical therapy. So I went and seen him. And it was his last day at that Abbott Northwestern that he mentioned. He says, I have to go open my own clinic. They're shutting down and moving to the Twin Cities. So I guess I'm going to go try this. You can come see me there. So I was his first patient. And he said, well, what are you going to do? I've seen you at the gym because he worked out over there. And it seems like you're always, and I said, well, I love the gym, but I've worked 60 hours for the past 3 years to make 20 grand a year. I love what I do. It's just not a career in personal training for me. And my wife-to-be wants a house. All of her friends are getting married, and I can't afford to do that. Doing what I do here. And he says, well, what are your dreams? I said, I love the show The Biggest Loser. And it just came out at that point. The doctor tells them to lose weight, and they listen a lot better than just me as a personal trainer right there. So I think that would be cool. I'd love to lock them away for 3 months so they don't have all the struggles and the spouse saying, cook me 2 meals, or you're wasting time, or all the feedback from friends and family saying, you can have the drink, and grandma saying, have the pumpkin pie. All the different things that we know is a struggle, even personally, to live a healthy lifestyle with between addiction and peer pressure and everything that comes with it. So he says, well, interesting. My patients, I'm family practice, if they come on, with diabetes, if I don't get them exercising or lose weight, I'm just covering it up, and I know it. I always preach it. If they come with degenerative disc disease and I give them a shot, I know I'm just covering it up unless they strengthen their core and get stronger and exercise. Do you think you could come on as a concierge in my practice and help my patients? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So I started in a little room that was 110 square feet. It was actually the room right next to it, but we didn't take a picture. There was 80 square feet that the physical therapist worked in, and it was hard. I was walking in the halls at 5 a.m. in the mornings, and everything, just having any space when it's nice. The 2 months of the year in Minnesota, I was out doing lunges in the grass. But this is where I start, our humble beginnings. 3 months after starting, we didn't have any other space, so I went to a local Snap Fitness and said, can I bring our members here and have trainers come train? And they said, yes. I was about ready to shut this down. I don't have memberships. 10 months later, we had 110 clients over there, and the owner cried when we left them, but we had to leave, and we opened up our own 6,000 square foot warehouse, and we had the 100 members, and it already paid for the overheads, so it was just a wide open shell right there. And then 2 years ago, we came into the building, as you've seen right there, and this is all because I went to the masterminds. I learned how to market. I was passionate. I went out and spoke to everybody, just like Dr. Ben the other day, is truly, I'm an introvert too. It's the hardest thing in the world for me to talk to people unless they're coming, seeking questions or health. I put myself out there because I know I have to grow, and nothing will stand in my way. I know this is my true calling, but that's the fact of the matter. As I went and did their slow traction, I was growing slowly, but then when I went to the masterminds, learned how to market, learned how to build relationships through Facebook. Well, that was prior Facebook, through email marketing, and some of the strategies were out there. We really started to grow and take off. So at Rejuve Medical, we're 3 triads, and I'll explain how we grew now. We're the medical fitness, non-surgical sports and orthopedics, and the functional medicine. So as I mentioned, I came on as a concierge. I was going to be the guy that fixed Dr. Baumgartner's patients. But what we found out, those patients didn't necessarily want to get better. So they came in, they just wanted the injection or their medication that they'd been used to. So I only seen about 5 patients all year that signed up for coming in to train with me out of all of his patients. And he was just growing too. But on the other hand, when we started marketing medical fitness, we put 2 systems in place, a health history and a functional movement screening. So for instance, I learned the first program that my mentor taught me is, hey, and he owns the world's largest fitness boot camp franchise. And so I was just following his systems. We did the 28-day new belly discovery, and about 100 people came from our first email out there. So I did 2 things. And when they come in, we do the health history. If they had diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, we put up a system that, hey, I want you to see the physician or the nurse practitioner before we begin exercise. If they were healthy and we did a functional movement screening, which is a combination of Gray Cook and then a PT scale, is if they had dysfunction or pain, I need you to see Dr. Baumgartner before you begin your exercise program. So out of those 100 people coming in, I would convert about 50% right to our clinic. So our clinic started taking off like mad because I couldn't do, hey, here's your $50 Suparts injection, come on for a discount. Hey, here's your $5,000 stem cell, come on in the masses right there. But we could do that with fitness, so that's how we really started to take off, is when they come in, those are the active population that wants to get better. They want the safe and progressive route. They absolutely ate up that we had something different than Planet Fitness or Gold's Gym. They were scared of those places. So at first we weren't much different, and now I'll show you how we progressed a little bit. So we went into this clinic a couple years ago, and this is our clinic, and this is our gym. If you see on the right-hand side there, I thought I seen a laser the other day, you see the white, yellow, red and blue. What happens is the people are scared to go for a gym for the reason. They go and their trainer beats them up to the first couple days, and then they can't walk up the stairs or hardly go to the bathroom. That's great. Some people love that. You know, we have the fitness people that say, if I'm not sore the next day, then it's not worth my money. But that's not the psyche of somebody who's been sedentary or is scared or fitness or has those. So I don't want grandma to come on day 1 and be doing burpees on the turf. We start with white belt exercises that are just simply movement-based exercises. You get to planks, and then we move to the yellow and red and progress people. And then we're focusing on things other than just a scale. Trust me, people come in and they want to lose weight, and we do what they call bioscores, what I'll show here in a second, that really be more than just about the weight. So how we integrate it on the clinic, so back again here when they go from medical fitness and now we have them start on the functional medicine side, what we do in some states are ACA that do preventative medicine, you can do there, and that's where we have to work with our licensees to say how we bill and code this. We're a hybrid. We're half cash, half insurance. Some practices I work with are pure cash. But when they go, we do a health risk assessment at ours, because if somebody has diabetes, we don't want them to just jump into vigorous activities or they're out of cardiac rehab, so we call it a health risk assessment. And that includes anybody with a BMI over 30, any sort of health diagnosis or underlying symptoms, medication, injury, or chronic pain. And we have program links. At first, when I first started selling, before I learned a little bit more, it'd be selling sessions instead of 6-month or year programs and everything. And just like I hear there, is that's not good enough when you sell 10 sessions. That's what gyms do, but we're not a gym. So what changed that is I had one patient that came in morbidly obese, and I wasn't very good at sales. I thought sales was bad when I first started and everything right there, and I had to learn and overcome that. And essentially what happened is I had a lady that came in, she had well over 100 pounds to lose. In her first 10 sessions, which was 1 month, she lost 30 pounds. So 6 months later, I get an email, and she quit after those 10 sessions. Hey, I didn't have the money, this and that. And I just would sell sessions. That was my calling. And I seen later that she had died of a heart attack. So that was the one thing that sticks with me. Now I truly feel if I'm letting somebody walk out of the clinic that's not on a 6-month or year program, my mindset is not that I'm selling them, that I just killed somebody if I let them walk out with not starting our program. And that is where I truly believe, and you guys need to have that mindset too, that these people aren't going to get better care at their traditional. They've already been to the other places right there. You have an obligation to present the best program that's going to help change their life and believe in it. And if you don't believe in it, you don't see your value. You don't know that you can fully help them because we have lives to change. And I know they're not going to go to any other gym and get a better program or a medically supervised or that involves functional medicine and the right things. So now we don't sell the short-term programs anymore because they don't do anything. We need 6 months at a minimum to change somebody's life. So when they come for that health risk assessment, we do a health history, medication review, biometric screening, comprehensive blood panel. In Minnesota, because we're insurance-based, we can't talk about the hormones yet, but if they do have fatigue or hot flashes, we do say, why don't you come on the clinic referrals thing, I want you to make a separate appointment so we can go over the hormones. So that's how we work that. But inside that, then when we come back for their blood reviews, we do the metabolic testing so we can continue to bill out. So this is all insurance gaming here. What this slide is, we can do different if we're a cash-based model, certainly. But this is, then they would do the results review, the metabolic testing, and we do what they call bioscores, which I'll show you in a second. This is the fitness component. They got to be at minimum training 2 times a week. Nutrition accountability. A lot of you may say, I don't have a dietitian or I don't have a health coach. Well, at first, you don't have to hire a full-time nutritionist. They can just come from a seminar once a week or work with your high-risk patients. We couldn't afford that out of the gates to have everything like that. So we do have the nutrition, the accountability, and the educational components that come with it. So other than the scale weight, when people drop and say, well, I just lost 10 pounds in the last 3 months, that's it. I say, no, you just dropped your glucides and your triglycerides and your A1Cs are better. You just prevented yourself a heart attack and added 10 years to your life. That's the focus of the education of where we have to go with these patients, not just a number on the scale. No, we're talking about life-changing metrics and non-scale victories. Just like I said, the subjective stuff. My energy went from a 4 to an 8, that I don't have the face discomfort. Hey, I can actually play with my kids after a long work day. Those are the things that we have to remind our patients because they always want to give themselves an out. We mentally don't want to go through the struggles, the changes. All of it takes that for change. And look at your own life. We'll start saying, well, it's there, or we'll start coping or giving ourselves reasons or excuses why we can. And patients are no different. They don't want to absolutely exercise and eat healthy every day. It takes work to get out of the bed at 5 a.m. to go make this happen or sacrifice time. So we need to be able to constantly put that in front of them, so subjective life-changing matters, that it's worth it and your energy is better. We do have bioscores that we can flag in our system so our trainers know how to work with these patients. We do have those levels of fitness, and what this makes is a bioscore. So when somebody's come, they've been to the clinic, we know this is a yellow belt, they must have been moving a little bit, but they do have some heart issues, so we probably took a heart rate variability and we don't want to push them too hard, but they have an internal score of 60 and an external score of 55. We know their goals, so now we're speaking to that as a trainer right there, and this is what separates us from other gyms and fitness facilities. This is an integrated model that talks to each other. Now when they come to that physician and they rolled their ankle or something, hey, I've seen you've lost 20 pounds because this comes up in our EHR. Hey, I've seen you've lost 20 pounds. Congratulations, keep pushing. They're getting that mixed message versus when you look at hospital wellness centers, it's not connected. There's no communication going back and forth. They don't care. They're not invested. So this works better in independent models that have an integrated facility that works together. And how do we do that? How do we have that consistent message? So as we grew, we had 15 trainers. We had one trainer saying carrots are bad and one trainer saying don't do this and don't do that. So we had to create a university online system now that we use for our educational components where Dr. Baumgartner's on there and he's speaking our nutrition systems and philosophies. We're talking about the psychology to patients right there. And this is what corporate wellness is just. We can go in there and sell it at $1 or $2 per person or offer those free seminars. And corporate wellness has really expanded and grown for us because we have this online educational platform that meets people where they're at. Not everybody in that corporation is going to want to start exercising and eating that way, but maybe they'll jump on and learn that, hey, when you go to that Mexican restaurant, and instead of eating chips and salsa before your whole meal comes and you're full, maybe we can just have 10 chips and break them up and eat slowly. Learning lifestyle habits that will change people's lives from years to come. So that's what we teach in here on Naturally Slim. And to us, it's all about outcomes. I encourage any of you to go to our website at any point. We've helped so many people change their lives, from people that are on multiple joint replacements in the corner right there, to severe depression, to postnatal helping them get their body back, to depression and drinking and behaviors where we're talking about more out of life, not just mentally and physically, but spiritually. What are they looking for? And regain that passion and zest in people's life. So if you're looking for results in your practice and you're trying to scale, it's all about building a team. You're only as good as your team and your systems. You can have some passionate people, but if you're growing, every front desk employee, every other provider are a natural extension of you, so you have to have the right team. If you're going to add this, or you're starting functional medicine, or you're going to open your own practice, it is no get-rich-quick scheme. We have to work and we have to learn, and we have to deliver value and results. We must be patient-centered. They don't care how we don't care. If you actually are looking ever at building fitness, these are, due to time, I won't go over everything, but we have to focus on what are your patient demographics. If you're in Arizona, we're probably marketing to boomers. If we're in Minnesota, we're marketing to the female that's 40 to 55, just like we talked about the other day. So it's different wherever we're at. Concierge community outreach. I work with an OBGYN clinic. Says, I don't want no more new patients. I just want my patients to get better results. Great, then we're building a concierge system. How do we get them from clinic to gym? How do we start planting that seeds with maybe the educational talks and then saying, hey, I want you to go to a free fitness test drive with our medical fitness specialist so we can get you a better outcome. If it's outcomes or profitability first, there's very lean ways to start this if you need to be profitable. And I completely understand we don't go into business to lose money. We go into business to grow and help more people. So we need to determine what that is. Are we going to do functional or corrective exercise or automated equipment? Techno Gym, you can plug your flash drive in there and it automates right there. A very expensive way to do it, and that's where hospital systems are looking. I believe in more in the functional and corrective side, and it's more affordable as well. What we talk about is independent, integrated, or insurance-based. We use an insurance and integrated. Some, again, with hospital systems, separate. That works great. You can refer to a separate business, and that's how you can have multiple partners. We do work with kickback statutes and everything like this. How do you bring it into your practice? If you're going to have partners, how do you refer the right way back and forth? Open access. As you've seen now, our facility's now big. Now we have a community fitness membership, and they can come on the days in between. If they are going on their 2 times a week program, they can come the other days of the week and do stuff. At our other locations, they only come when they were training. So that's the difference between open access. How will your medical fitness practice fill your funnel? Just like we've talked funnels the other day, ours fills our funnel. We market medical fitness, not orthopedics and functional medicine, just because it works so well for us to do those low barrier offers and bring people in, and then we can disseminate. Our referrals that we get from our outcomes, yes, we have plenty of people that come directly for PRP and stem cells with Dr. Baumgartner. We have plenty of people that come for functional medicine, and we do seminars, just like everybody's talking here, based off Facebook for those, and that's how those drive, but our main driver to our clinic is our fitness system. How your fitness or your medical department refer to your fitness, how do the systems communicate together? That's what we work to make happen. So if you're ever looking at doing this, you may be overthinking how much it costs. It could be anywhere from $10,000 to $500,000 if you wanted to get as fancy as it would ever imagine. But just like I said, all it cost Dr. Baumgartner to start, because he had that own cable cross in his gym and the treadmill in his basement, all it costed him was the $40,000 salary that I started with. So about $1,800 a month, and we were break even very fast because we didn't add much. And then as we went to Snap Fitness, that only cost us per membership base right there. It cost us money when we opened the big 6,000 square foot warehouse, but our rents were already covered at that point. So you got to look at your space internal. I seen Dr. Osborne's clinic yesterday. My mind lit up because I knew he had that space dedicated for this. So my mind goes, how do I help him fill that thing up? So if you have a space that is 80 square foot, that's all it really takes to get going. There's plenty of gyms that are starving for memberships out there that would gladly welcome you to come in if you can pay per membership per each patient right there. So equipment, if you are going to do the medically integrated part, yes, there's a BIA or heart rate variability. Many of you may know that and have that already from your functional side of things. There are different bioscores and technologies. Some of the clinics want to do this low budget as possible. You don't have to start with that. You could do the bioscores that we do with the finger prick. You'd go to McKesson and you pay $15 per test. You don't have to pay any equipment to still give those bioscores. So pretty simple relatively if we're on a fixed budget. And then we have to pay the hourly or staffed employees. Other than the implementer, that next person is just like a massage therapist. You pay per session, not a full-time salary. So if they're training 6 clients, they get training $20 of that $60 session. So it's not a huge cost and overhead for those trainers. Your fixed expenses is, yes, marketing, rent, utilities, office supplies, and then the rest is a cost of goods sold. Your nutraceuticals, yes, you sell it, you make more than what you paid for it. Space, again, anywhere from 80 to 200 square foot. If you are looking to do groups, then I recommend 250 square feet to 1,000. My sweet spot, when we do licenses, I know we can do boot camps and do better low barrier offers if we're between 1,250 to 2,500 square feet. That's the area that I know I can grow the fastest, but each one matters. Again, if we're trying to be low overheads, we rent off-site at another gym or a facility or a gymnastics center. The dancers, they want you to come in, and then, or if you're going to lease out, I'd recommend 2,000 because you're usually going to have to do a 3 to 5 year lease. So at least you can grow into it and grow as this will grow if done the right way and you get the right people. Equipment, as I mentioned, you don't need much. It's all functional. It's all TRX bands. It's all pull-ups. All the equipment and stuff right there. That's not the best cost. But if you're going to be a gym membership, yes, you would want that. If you go closed access, you don't need any of that. Staffing your medical fitness practitioner, this is what determines the success. You need the right implementer, somebody that's passionate, that will go out, that is willing to sell and do the consultations that you refer over, and they're able to grow that. So you're not just looking for a trainer. Some trainers, some PTs, they just don't have what it takes to sell. You need somebody that is comfortable doing that. And again, I wasn't comfortable in it in the beginning, but I was willing to sit down with people. I probably only closed 30% of the people that I asked for until I learned and I put myself out there. And by the end of it, I was closing well over 90% of the people that I sit for before I was done on the fitness side. Marketing, everything that you learned here is the exact same we market it. We're doing free community outreach. We do much more than that, than any paid advertising. The only paid advertising I do is a radio show, so all of our expert contents can go on there. It's the most popular one in town, but I'm on 2 other radio shows that are for free because I deliver great content. We do a lot of email marketing. That's our go-to. Facebook like crazy, and that's so simple once you just get good at it. Plug-and-play campaigns, they're done for you, all those fitness ones that work really well. And we definitely want to track our marketing. We don't spend money on anything that doesn't work. So it's one of those people, I meet with a lot of physicians that are scared to advertise. If you put $5 in an ATM machine and $10 came back, wouldn't you put more money in that ATM machine? That's how your marketing should be. You can't be scared to spend money in marketing if you know what you're doing. You've got to do more of it. Goal setting, estimated programs, and again, I want to speed through this. You guys have these PowerPoints. There's 3 predictors of success when you're doing medical fitness. I've learned the hard way with 26 of these that you just can't do it haphazardly. There's systems, and we've continued to get better at it, but there's 3 predictors of success. If you're just starting from scratch and you're trying to do functional medicine, medical fitness, and all that, that makes it harder. Not saying it's impossible, but then you have to have a greater capacity, some sort of experience, or deeper pockets. But if you're an already successful practice, this is really easy to add as a next phase if you have the right person or the right team. But you need that right person that can go do it, and that's finding the right implementer. And then an initial budget of $750 that I could spend on Facebook makes it really easy for me to bring in a lot of low barrier offers. But if that implementer can't sell them, like I have one in Detroit right now that is good. It was his buddy, and he wanted him to run it. But in February, he closed 1 out of 24 people. That's not good enough. I don't care how good of a best friend is. We cannot grow 1 out of 24 people when my best people close 20 out of 24 people easily. So you have to have somebody that can do that consultation. So why is this important right now? It is absolutely creating real health for patients. That's what this does first and foremost. So if you're coming from the right place, the right heart, it's about reversing the chronic disease problem. We have made an undeniable difference in our community, and those that get this successfully, it is actually changing the health, and you build that reputation in your community that you're the go-to. It is leading the mission because we need leaders out there that are going to wave the forefront and raise the hand, just like you're all here doing, is saying we can fix something. What is excited about our team is I go to a lot of practices that it's monotonous or bland or they're in pain management and I just don't feel like I'm making a difference. You have a team that's mission-driven and on fire when you are truly helping patients. So you get people that maybe, is willing to come in and start at a lower wage and grow if you're able to learn how to incentivize your employees for the growth in your organization. It is easy to add to any clinic setting. There can be low overhead and no risk opportunities. I was at a nutrition conference and a lot of dietitians were saying, how do I go make this work? Well, go do a split with anybody. So if I were looking with you, I would tell a trainer, well, how can this be no risk to to the physician. Well, great. Why don't you come in there and do this and learn this and split 50-50 with the physician and charge it as rent or an overhead, so it's no risk to you, but you have somebody coming in that open exam room for you that's doing this for you if you trust in them and they're good and professional. You don't have to build it. The trainer is supposed to build it for you. It's building a practice that isn't fully dependent on you. So Dr. Baumgartner, when deductibles reset for us, because we're still a cash base, takes 2 to 3 weeks in January, and that's where we still have our biggest revenue month on the fitness side. So it helps. It is decreasing the need for medication. It does diversify your practice, and it is cash friendly because people are coming and paying cash for the services, so it gets them more apt paying cashes for the functional and hormone stuff once we get them over there. And it is, if you are insurance in that game like we are, we have a big facility. I don't foresee us letting go of insurance because it's an entry in right now, but it does help our outcomes and separates us when the insurances go that way. It does create those constant new referrals. It's a credible marketing attractor for us, and it makes for a highly motivated patient. As if you know, dealing with some of those patients that have all sorts of problems going on, they can sap your energy. These people come motivated. It does allow for great cross-referral refinery, and then when you do help them get outcomes, they become lifelong patients, and they become walking billboards. We do get to use the position of authority as the unique selling position of medically supervised, even though it doesn't really mean much. It absolutely, in the consumer's mind, means a lot. It does stay a step ahead of the competition. If you're separating versus 20 other functional medicine doctors in 5 years in your city, this does put you in a different mindset for them. And in a pain management practice, when they're there, it does separate from the other ones right there. We believe it's a perfect storm because the healthcare crisis is not going away. Business costs are going to continue to rise, and the opportunity is now. Just like they're saying, those that see trends in the stock market or where they're going, that's the ones that strike it rich, that see where it's going and where healthcare is going. To me, it's pretty easy to see where healthcare is going and why this business model makes sense. So this is our financials and what we've done. In 2010, that's when we added it. The fitness income was 107, but the referral to our clinic was our fitness revenue was 131. The fitness referral was 107, and that's a direct referral. They came in, functional movement screening, pain, let me get you to the clinic. What this doesn't attribute and track for is the secondary passive referrals. So let's just say Mrs. Jones comes in, goes to the clinic, gets her hormones optimized, and she had a back injection, is feeling a lot better. Well, she tells the husband and the son that has back pain and when they come in, but I can't track that. I can only track from physician to there. So last year, we did a little over $5 million at our clinic. Fitness revenue was $1.2 million, but $920,000 in referrals. But we think that's closer to 3/4 of our entire income because of those referrals that we can't track because of what medical fitness has done in our clinic. So that's kind of what we've done. And this is kind of imparting what I want to leave with all of you is you all have the ability to help make change. But if you're getting in this to money or whatever this is what I have to help identify with physicians and people that are running this is what success needs to incorporate. And there's 3 P's. And the first is purpose, passion, and persistence. If you don't have purpose behind your doing, I knew that it was my calling to help people when I was younger and coach, but I didn't know it. My life led to me to where, I found some faith that really helped change my life, that it was, no, this is my purpose to change healthcare. Because building a $5 million building, stressing, dealing with doctors, 26 of them, and then our physicians in our practice is not easy. There's been days where it's just I want to give up, but I know this is my purpose and driven. If you're at financial crisis or you're struggling, or how do you make this work, or how do you market, you have to have that greater purpose. Otherwise, you're going to struggle to keep pushing through, and you're going to say it's too hard or it's not worth it. But people need you right now. So there has to be that passion, and there has to be that persistence. Can you get better every single month, every single year? And the answer is you can. But you have to be able to work harder than anybody else. That's how I have grown. I barely graduated high school. I got kicked out of everything. I was into drugs, into alcohol, everything you could imagine. And it didn't matter. I finally had a teacher tell one of my I was always a good person, but I was just lost. My father wasn't there and everything like that. I had one teacher that told me after I graduated, that was one of my best friends who is still a senior, told the mom that I don't want you to hang out with JR. He's a bad influence. So that sparked after I said, okay, I'm going to go to college because I was going to build water towers. I said, I'm going to go to college and prove everybody wrong. I was just one of those guys that wanted to show other people wrong. And that was there. From that moment on, I always worked harder than everybody else. So there's that point of time and work where, just like Dr. Osborne said the other day, you're going to have to stay up late at night if you're going to want to make this work. If you're the 40-hour person, you're trying to grow a practice, it's not going to grow the same way than the person who's going to outwork you. So I'm not smart, I'm just hardworking. Take self-responsibility for everything in your life. I used to blame the teachers, my father for not being there, until I turned 25 years old and said, nobody gives a crap. This is about me and what I'm going to do. It's not the consumers. The victim mentality doesn't go anywhere. I owned everywhere where I was going to go in my life, and I made sure that if Rejuve doesn't make it, it's my fault. If I can't do whatever I do, it's my fault. I don't say anybody else's fault. It's not the government, it's not the politics, it's not the pharmaceutical companies. It's my job to inspire patients and physicians to do this model to change healthcare. It's nobody else's fault. When you can start taking that type of responsibility, you have the power to do whatever you want to do. Don't reinvent the wheel. There's models of success. If you're trying to do functional medicine, learn how Dr. Osborne's doing it. Why go try to muddle for 5 years? If you want to market, do a Facebook from somebody who's already being successful. Don't go to try to muddle. Pay for speed right there and it will work. And then surround yourself with success. Your partners, your fiancés, they're all going to question what you do. Your friends, why you work in the way you're going to do. You need to get in groups where you go and they're all the type A people that are going to inspire you to do different things every single day and tell you, keep pushing. I believe in you, and you can do it. If you're around negative influences, trust me, you're not going where you want to go. So you don't divorce your partner, you communicate. This is the most important thing to me in the world. I believe in this. You may not always, see why I do what I do, but can you please support me? You love me. When I gave up drinking and quit alcohol, my brother wanted to give me the hardest time in the world. He knew me as that I went from that introvert to the life of the party. That's when I'd sing karaoke and dance better than anybody I ever seen. But now I can't dance and I can't do any of that thing, but I'm starting to get that back as I grow without it. So he gave me a hard time. We went home for my grandmother's funeral, and he says, no, JR, have this drink. You're bumming me and depressing me out. I said, Bobby, I can't come home anymore unless you can stop giving me a hard time. I love you more than anybody in the world, but this is important to me. I have to turn pro. I have to change healthcare. I have a little child now, and I'm not going to sit on the couch on Sunday and black out. And you've seen me almost kill myself on the last cruise. I was never mean or aggressive, but I black out and do stupid stuff. So it was fun when I was 18, but not so much when you're really trying to be a professional and change healthcare. So I gave it up. So learn systems if you plan to scale. You cannot grow well if it's not systemized and has the ability to teach and replicate to other people through the Camtasia videos, the screencast. Everything that they said may be over your head, but when you go home, reabsorb this and say, what were they talking about? Because these mastermind people, it's the same thing over and over and over again, but it's all truth. It's how fast you can put systems in place that are going to make you successful. Marketing and sales helps your community. You got to get out of your head your lack of value perception. You have to become the best salesperson in the world because you're going to help more people when you do it. I've never hard closed anybody or pushed anybody into a sale ever, but I certainly believe that my service is going to help change their life. Otherwise, I wouldn't feel it sell. If I was selling something that's garbage, that would be a hard inner core value struggle. When I sell something that I know is going to change their life, it's the best feeling in the world. Continue to educate and grow way outside your comfort zone. I used to shake and not sleep for 2 nights in a row, but I knew I had to get on the stages for our summits and talk to people right there. I didn't sleep last night in ONTAP. I thought I came and I had it licked because I've had some big conferences that, okay, I'm getting a little less nervous. No, this scares the crap out of me to get up here and talk to people in front of you guys, but I'm getting better, and I will continue to get better, and I'll do anything, but then I'll go hide in the corner afterwards unless people are talking to me. So you have to step outside your comfort zone. You have to be a giver. There's not one person that came to me that I wouldn't give. If they emailed me, that I would try to help them in there. And that's how Dr. Osborne, that's how everybody that is successful, they give if they're going to be successful because, you know what, they've been helped. Everybody, every stage that I've been on has been from my first mastermind, from people that I've connected with. And those relationships, even though we don't get to talk and we're all busy, have been the platform for my success in starting out. So you have to become a giver. You have to get with like-minded people. You have to be a leader and effective communicator. At first, I was just a tough manager that wanted to, hey, why aren't they doing it this way? But now if somebody's late, hey, can I ask what's going on in your life? Well, I have a sick kid. you know why it's important to be on time for work and your client? Yes. You know why as a leader I have to make sure you're on? Yes. So you don't have to be passive aggressive and have hard conversations. You can learn to communicate the right way with your loved one. How do you seek to understand versus seek to blame or cast stones? It's very important. And ultimately, this is why I put out here when I write, when I blog, it's about talking to myself so I learn and grow. And the first is you have to decrease stress in your life. I've allowed this growth in this dream to add too much stress to my life, but at the end of the day, if it all disappeared, what matters? I still have my family and my kids. I still am walking, even though I have some things I'm overcoming from a mental side. So don't overstress or overcomplicate difficult conversations or your business, because guess what? I think you all could be employable. I think you all will be able to provide food on any table. It may go back into something you don't want, but don't stress things that don't matter, right? Your life, your health, your loved ones matter, not this business. If it fails, you're not a failure. You're going to learn how to be successful in the next realm. So thank you all so much. I appreciate your time, and if there's anything I can ever do, thank you.